Hey, what's up, my little TisaTellss? How y'all doing today? Well, baby, if your name is Kourtney Kardashian, you are shaking your head saying, I dodged the bullet. Come on, Travis, let's go to your next rock show. What am I talking about? Scott is trying to worm his way back into Kourtney's life. The Kardashians are trying to exploit it, but it seems like they might have gone too fast because y'all, there's rumors that Scott's gone back into rehab. Now, listen, this isn't to make light of Scott's journey to sobriety and to help. But isn't it funny that the one trigger he has, which is feeling unloved and alone, the Kardashians literally exploited because they thought they could get Scott, it's my opinion, to explode on camera because they kept putting him in weird, uncomfortable situations with Kourtney and Travis. And baby, even Scott saying, don't blame Kourtney because, I feel like Scott, sometimes when he goes home, he just puts on Forever My Lady by Jodeci and looks at the Apple movies they make on your iPhone, memories of the iPhone made memories, a movie of him and Kourtney smiling back then before, I think she dumped him in 2015. Anyway, let's get into this. Where y'all want to start at? The rehab or how he treated Kourtney. Okay, so this is it. Scott Disick will always have regrets about how he treated Kourtney Kardashian. This is coming straight from E! News, so you know it's real, right? And it's odd that it's planted in E! News. If you guys don't know, Travis had a surprise birthday party after he won the GQ Man of the Year award. None of the sisters at all bothered to show up for the surprise party, but Khloe and Kim both had dinner with Scott. Kim the day of the surprise party, and Khloe had dinner the day after. Okay, so I think they showed where lines were drawn, what they thought. Why is that such a big deal? Because y'all can say, oh my God, let it go. Scott's family, he's always going to be family. But Kourtney has gone on record, and go watch my Kourtney and Scott playlist, has gone on record and said that she felt like the family production disrespected her happy ending. She waited so long to find a love like Travis, to find a man like Travis, to find something that made her feel whole, made her body feel sexy instead of starving herself, made her feel loved and listened to, and made her feel like her life was enough and she didn't have to keep chasing dollars. Partly because Travis was like, baby, sit down. I got a few dollars. We can beat the case. Partly because Travis is filthy rich himself, but also because Kourtney, she found someone that shared her ideal of what actual love was and how much success was enough, and balancing it with the love of having a normal family. Cue the Kardashians literally always in this love story, always bringing Scott around when Kourtney didn't want him around, because Scott treated Kourtney really, really badly. I know they were together for a minute, but I remember how badly Scott treated Kourtney. They brought them around, they did this, they did that. A lot of people surmised, okay, watch the season yourself and get your own opinion, that the reason they brought Scott around is because they were hoping that Scott would relapse, flip out, and turn into that Scott from 2009 where he was shoving $100 bills in waiters' mouths, right? That's why they wanted him around. They wanted him for the drama. They wanted to turn Kourtney, and this is what Kourtney said she felt, they wanted to turn her fairy tale into some petty drama. And that's another reason why Kourtney disconnected and said, I'm not going to do that. And another reason why the family kind of distanced themselves from Kourtney. If you want more details, there's a Kourtney playlist where I go into all the little clues. If you're into that, go watch and make up your own mind. But get this. When Scott looks back on his relationship with Kourtney, he'll always have some regrets. And while the 39-year-old father of three accepts his fault, he's also focused on looking ahead. He says Scott will always have regrets about how he treated Kourtney and handled their relationship. He's focusing on moving on, accepting his faults, and trying to learn from his mistakes, which is a good thing. But the only thing is, if that's the case and Kourtney feels like this about Scott, why do Kim and Khloe insist on bringing him around? Again, they say all this, but they're filming him. They're just trying to use Scott for a storyline, and they're mad Kourtney won't play along. Now, I do want to say this. This feeds into the story of Scott's rehab in several ways. For one, It's funny how the people that do defend the bulk of the Kardashians' actions say, well, you know what? Who cares if Kourtney and Scott aren't together? Scott's been family forever, so they have a right to have a relationship with Scott. Who cares? But the funny thing is, why does it seem like they only have a relationship with Scott when the cameras are filming? Why does it seem like they only have a relationship with Scott when they can use Scott? Why does it seem like they only care about Scott when they can bring him closer in order to torture Kourtney? Because Kim, Khloe, Kylie, Kendall, and Kris, all of them been on vacation several times. They've even had holiday dinners. Where was Scott Disick? Where was he? Where was he? Again, it's all for front. They use it, and this is my opinion, they use Scott and, oh, we're always family, as an excuse whenever you want to bring him closer and try to exploit Kourtney and ruin her time and use that for ratings. But when you can't do that, you don't have anything to say to Scott, and you don't invite him on family holidays. And you guys don't have any more excuse because Kourtney's not there. She's busy living her best life with Travis and the kids. So you can invite Scott anywhere you choose. I also want to say that when it comes to that, it's kind of sick what they do. Have you ever noticed that Kim and with Kris is always the protected one? You never really hear about what's going on with Kim's relationships. It's always hunky-dory, every man wants me. It's only when Kanye opens his mouth or Pete played her or whenever the next man comes along that we learn about what's actually going on. You see that as soon as, for last season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kourtney wanted no parts of what happened with Scott. So what they actually did was they turned the camera on Khloe. Remember how Khloe would be looking at them like they were crazy when they were trying to bring up what happened between her and Tristan. But Khloe had no choice but to play along, but she was on her victim tour. But let's get into this, right? Scott Disick has stepped his treatment and therapy amid sobriety journey and is working on bettering himself. A lifelong journey. Scott is committed to bettering himself after several previous rehab stints. The reality star has stepped up his treatment and therapy in recent weeks and is improving his mental well-being and is considering tackling his struggles with substance abuse in an inpatient program. They said the Kardashians are all very supportive of Scott bettering himself. And I do believe that Kourtney's supportive. That is the father of her children. It's like, for God's sakes, we're not going to be there together, but tighten up, sober up so you can be there for your kids. I know Kourtney is supporting this, right? They love him and want him to love himself just as much. But again, if you love him so much, how come you guys don't ever invite him on any trips? How come he's always person non grata? Since rising to stardom on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, in May 2020, he actually checked into a Colorado facility to deal with past traumas, including the loss of his family. But he left shortly because somebody, I think, posted a picture of him in rehab. They said Scott's breakup and past issues with Kourtney and his parents' death have deeply affected him. Although it doesn't always show up in a negative way, these are things he's constantly had to battle and live with and that don't go away overnight. Again, if all of this is true, and Kourtney is actually a trigger for Scott, then I ask you, why did Kim and Kris and Khloe and everyone else have Scott sitting there 20 feet away from Kourtney? I don't blame Kourtney. Kourtney literally was in a relationship with an addict. Kourtney has seen things we don't know. Girl, go live your life, kiss your man if you want. But the fact that the Kardashians kept putting Scott in that situation and and now he's going to rehab and everybody's just quiet about it and they're probably not going to be around or do anything or even visit until it's next time to film. Listen, everybody said that Scott survived the Kardashian curse. No, he didn't. He did not. He did not. And even if Kourtney wasn't the one delivering the curse runs through the bloodline. Again, yeah. They say that they say that when Kourtney saw that Scott was struggling, she encouraged him to go. Listen, I will say this, good luck to Scott. I hope he does get clean. They say that him and Kourtney don't communicate much unless it has to do with the kids. Scott feels not just disconnected from Kourtney, but also from all the Kardashians. This is his biggest fear, getting out of touch with his family. Again, they talk all that thing, we have Scott around, not because we're torturing Kourtney, but because Scott's family. Well, your family needs help and your family needs a hug. But we see when you can't monetize it and when it's not about antagonizing Kourtney, Nothing seems to be done. But you know what? This is my opinion. Y'all prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments, and I will talk to you later.